To be specific, KCAA, how does KCAA come in the search and rescue aspect? One, we say that its role is to coordination of the agencies. And this coordination is done through the Rescue Coordination Center. And the Rescue Coordination Center is an office that has been put in place, well equipped with a very trained personnel to handle all aspects of the search and rescue service. And also, the primary role of a Rescue Coordination Center is to make sure that when an incident happens, it has been well coordinated with all other agencies so that we achieve the result of rescuing the people who are in danger or distress as fast as possible. So the Rescue Coordination Center is a 24-hour office manned throughout, and during those 24 hours, they monitor distress. We talked about how the search is undertaken and the rescue is undertaken. But further, how do they monitor distress so that we become aware that an incident has happened? Over time, before we became a bit digital in terms of how issues are handled, we were relying heavily on the air traffic services to report to the Rescue Coordination Center that an aircraft probably that was under our control is missing. All the public that would report we have witnessed an incident where an aircraft has crashed. Or an operator who would say that our aircraft has not arrived at the destination. Or the police who would say we have a report of a crash that has happened, and the Rescue Coordination Center would come in and start the coordination. Over time, we have now satellite-aided tracking. Satellite-aided tracking assists in search and rescue, whereby all aircraft, and it goes beyond the aircraft, even some of the marine vessels, are equipped with beacons. These beacons are various types. We have the emergency locator transmitter, which is in aircraft, and we have the personal locator beacon, which can be carried on board aircraft, but it is can be used in mobile movement. And we also have the emergency position indicating radio beacon, which is mostly in marine vessels like boats and ships. There are various ways of when these beacons indicate that there is an incident, how they become triggered. For example, for an aircraft on impact, this beacon would come on automatically, and the satellites would be able to pick it up. And once it is picked up by the satellite, it is relayed to another set of areas called the local user terminals that are linked up with a mission control center. The mission control center will look and identify an appropriate rescue coordination center, and then relay that signal to the rescue coordination center. This rescue coordination center will now be able to coordinate and say, yes, we have a distress signal from a certain aircraft, and it is indicating either a certain location, and then be able to coordinate the agencies that will respond to that. We also mentioned that maybe a crash happened in a maybe very remote site, and even when the signal is on from the aircraft, then we have those portable personal locator beacons that were also in the aircraft. Maybe people are moving, they have not been hurt, but they're in a remote area. We still need to rescue those people, so we'll be tracking that signal as people move with it. So beacons have a very, very critical role today. A huge percentage of all the rescue work in the distress field is being now monitored through beacons. So the Rescue Coordination Center is monitoring distress alert from beacons every hour, every minute. It's a 24-hour service and with trained personnel. We are also monitoring any reports that may come from our air traffic control services. Kenya Civil Aviation Authority has several manned airfields whereby, or airports, whereby air traffic control service is being provided. Remember, all aircraft in flight are in contact with air traffic controllers. The air traffic controllers will be probably the primary source of information when something has gone bad. So at the Rescue Coordination Center, they are monitoring a whole set of communication facilities to monitor the social media. They are monitoring the mainstream media every minute. They are monitoring all lines from the Kenya Police. They are monitoring, that would come from Kenya Police, of course, all lines that would come from the public, all reports that will be made to the Rescue Coordination Center. They are doing that so that we do not get to miss an incident that has happened, and so that the rescue is provided within the shortest time possible. Of course, this is not something that happens every day, but at the Rescue Coordination Center, the personnel who are very well trained, they are called the Search Mission Coordinators, very well trained, are also undertaking a lot of other preparatory activities. Those preparatory activities is to ensure that when an incident happens, they are at top notch. They are at level and a state of readiness that is good, so that they will execute a plan very fast. What are these activities? One, the personnel there or the Rescue Coordination Center will keep updating the contacts for the various agencies. And there are so many agencies that would respond to an incident if it happened. This will include even volunteers and probably government agencies. And you keep updating that because people who are called points of contact with those agencies keep changing. So you have to keep renewing your list of contacts and also doing test runs. For example, with our primary agencies, we make a communication test daily with those primary agencies that we would rely on to respond to an incident that has happened. We also undertake mapping of assets. You need to understand what assets are available within the state so that when it comes to an incident happening, you can be able to determine which asset can be deployed where, which is the most appropriate asset based on the circumstances of a case. Therefore, mapping of assets means you go to Agency A and you know Agency A has this number of aircraft that can be utilized for search and rescue. They have this number of trained personnel. These personnel are located and assets are located at certain points so that you have that database with you. The other thing that you do is to make sure that you are mapping, you are also mapping the leakages. When you're doing search, and especially area search, you don't want to have a mistake which would cause a delay. Because when the area search is being undertaken, if they see a wreckage of an aircraft, that could cause confusion. So we do mapping of those leakages and know at a certain area, certain key point, there is an aircraft leakage that is there. It has never been removed, maybe because of one of various things, and it looks like this. It is at this exact position. So that when you have a search in a certain area, what we call a search area, then you will already be coordinating with the agency undertaking the search to tell them the wreckage we are looking at or we are looking for looks like this, is this type of aircraft and this color, and also, you shouldn't confuse, there is a similar wreckage or there is another wreckage that is at a certain area in the same locality. We don't get into that confusion. The Rescue Coordination Center, as part of its preparatory activities, will also ensure that it maps areas that would call black spots for incidents and accidents. These include the mountainous areas, areas of dense traffic, and where we already have statistics that a lot of incidences and accidents have happened. Further, to ensure that when you are dispatching such aircraft that you have some level of preparation, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority procures the survival kits and medical kits that are droppable, that can be dropped from the air. Because not in all cases where an aircraft would find that a crash has happened, especially in mountainous areas, they would be able to access that area immediately. But they could be up there, they are seeing a location down, but they cannot access it. An aircraft has nowhere to run. So, and in most cases, the victims could be injured. It could be very cold. We all know that high up in mountains is very cold, or people are hungry. Before preparation is done as to how to access the victims, then there are droppable kits that will be dropped from the air to those people so that they can probably be able to undertake first aids. They're called droppable medical and survival kits. These kits have been procured or purchased by KCAA and distributed to key agencies. We said that search and rescue is a responsibility of the state, and the state has so many actors. In that system, for the system to work seamlessly, then there are you need to hold a lot of stakeholders meetings so that you work together and you discuss so that you can enhance the cooperation. So that when you are coordinating when an incident has happened, the various agencies that will be involved, they are all working seamlessly. If it's the National Police, if it's the Kenya Defence Forces, the Kenya Wildlife Service, and even private organizations, they will be able to work seamlessly when an incident happens. So how do we do this? We hold workshops, a lot of workshops coordinated by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority through the Rescue Coordination Center, so that the various actors discuss various modalities and plans that they would implement when such an incident happens. The next thing is to organize for drills. In December 2019, we held a national drill where we were testing the system, the search and rescue system as a whole, on its level of preparedness. That's also an activity that is very important in search and rescue because it helps to close some gaps that will be there in the system, so that you will be able to respond within the fastest time possible and seamlessly. If we can look at the number of organizations that undertake specific roles, the Rescue Coordination Center would, at the very beginning, determine the organization to be deployed at a certain or during a certain search and rescue mission. And search and rescue mission is that mission undertaken to respond to either a lost aircraft or an aircraft that has had an incident. You will determine by one, the kind of activity that needs to be undertaken. So if you need to use an aircraft, you already have the agencies that have aircraft. For example, the Kenya Defence Forces, the National Police Service, the Kenya Wildlife Service from the state agencies. They are very effective in providing these assets. If you need to use the ground forces, you go for, of course, again, the Kenya Defence Forces, the national police. They are everywhere within the country. They have posts all over the country. You will also probably look for mountain rangers in the specific areas, mountainous areas, who are trained to handle that kind of terrain. And in the national parks, the Kenya Wildlife Service rangers, very effective. Once we go through their management, they do that, and we have a very effective way. You also determine by location, where has this incident happened? Probably it's in one corner of the country, and the kind of asset that is available, the fastest asset available in that corner of the country is what you will go for, because speed is of essence. Then you will also determine the kind of skill required. If it's a maritime incident, in coordination with Kenya Maritime Authority, maybe then our Navy is the most appropriate. So determination as to the agency that will respond to a certain incident is based on a number of factors, and those factors are all considered to be able to achieve the fastest response time with the most appropriate asset, and that will guarantee that a rescue will be able to take place. Because at the end of the day, what matters is that every humanly possible effort will be undertaken or will be given to make sure that somebody in distress will be rescued coming from an aircraft incident. We do a lot of coordination. Once a mission has been determined that it will be undertaken, we do a lot of coordination. And we said that the first thing is that the Rescue Coordination Center has already determined this is the agency that will respond first. Or these are the agencies, because you may want to have, based on the incident, there may be a number of agencies at the same time. So the first thing is to notify the agencies at the earliest time possible when you become aware that that incident is there, that they should start preparing, so that once you quickly come up with a plan, then you relay the plan to the agencies, and the search plan that will probably be undertaken based on the information available, and then you are able to facilitate those agencies, especially if they are going to use air assets, to depart without any delay, within the shortest time possible. Of course, for an aircraft to depart, there's a lot of modalities that are undertaken. You facilitate search and rescue aircraft, or aircraft undertaking search and rescue are given the topmost priority. So they will depart within the shortest time possible, and you will be communicating the plans that are there. Any new information that comes up, there is a lot of coordination.